Okay, good morning. The Global Partnership on Plastic Pollution and Marine Litter is the largest global multi-stakeholder partnership on plastics in the world. Now, the Global Plastics Hub provides one-stop access to data, resources and expertise across the plastics lifecycle, enabling evidence-based and collaborative action worldwide. Today, we're going to learn about how the Hub is using data to power decision-making on plastic pollution. To get us started, please welcome Doreen Robinson, Deputy Director of the Ecosystems Division for UNEP. Thank you.
Hello. Oh. Good morning. I hope we're okay for day 2 of UNEA. Welcome to everyone. Welcome plastics partners and friends. I'm very glad to see you. I know it's early in the morning, but we're day 2, so we still have lots of energy. Plastic pollution remains one of the many pressing environmental challenges of our time. It affects the environment, it affects our economies, and it affects our health. Every year, between 19 and 23 million tons of plastic water enter aquatic ecosystems. Without urgent action, global plastic pollution is projected to rise by 50% by 2040. Microplastics have been detected in human blood, lungs, and even placental tissues, raising serious concerns about the long-term impacts on our health. Plastic pollution heavily impacts our economy through loss of jobs in the tourism or fisheries, increased cleanup costs, and we have yet to fully understand the health costs. This year, UNEA 7 has called on us to focus on advancing solutions for a resilient planet. The Global Plastics Hub is a direct response to that call, a digital platform that empowers governments, businesses, researchers, and civil society to act with evidence and to act with unity. We also mark the 30th anniversary of the Global Program of Action for the Protection of Marine Environment from Land-Based Activities, known as the GPA. The GPA was a pioneering framework that recognized the critical link between land-based sources of pollution and ocean health. The Global Partnership on Plastic Pollution and Marine Litter emerged under the GPA framework, and it has now grown, as we just heard, to the world's largest multi-stakeholder partnership addressing plastic pollution and marine litter, with more than 700 members across the world. Science, data, evidence, and good analysis are essential to move forward. Making robust data accessible to policymakers and stakeholders is critical for evidence-based policy making and action. Plastics data is complex. And it's complex because of a very complex value chain from production, consumption, waste management, leakage, all having to be looked at before reaching pollution in the environment, another layer. Fragmented data has been an obstacle to inform effective policy and action. The Global Plastics Hub is filling this gap with you by consolidating plastic lifecycle data with tools and knowledge resources, accelerating solutions, aligning efforts across sectors, and ensuring that our collective action is grounded in science and grounded in reality and pragmatism. Already, policies and actions are driven by data provided by the Global Plastics Hub. For example, in Lagos, single-use plastic ban was triggered by data on plastic leakage of 36 kilograms per person per year, equivalent to every single person in Lagos throwing 10 PET bottles into rivers and oceans every single day. Mombasa, just around the corner, large investment cases are unlocked by major development banks and bilateral donors through a waste audit data to tackle plastic pollution. Since its launch on World Environment Day last year, the Hub has already attracted over 2,000 registered members, reflecting the strong demand for knowledge sharing and collective problem solving. This morning's dialogue will showcase its functionalities and explore its future evolution how data can inform effective policies, and how partnerships are essential to drive the systemic change we need. We'll be exploring the Global Plastics Hub features and functionalities today, and our new feature called Action Planning Tool, which connects governments, businesses, civil society with actionable insights, providing step-by-step guidance, data, and case studies for countries to develop baselines and then action plans. We encourage you all, if you haven't already, to sign up for the Hub so that we can co-create by sharing data, success stories, and technological solutions. We are very grateful for the continued contribution from the government of Japan and Norway, provided for the Global Plastics Hub, and development for the GPML, it's too early for acronyms, and the Global Plastics Hub. Thank you to the government of Senegal, UN Habitat, IAEA, and the on data sharing and action planning. I'd like to emphasize again the importance and the power of multi-stakeholder partnership, like the Global Partnership on Plastic Pollution and Marine Litter for Coordinated Action. Tackling plastic pollution requires collective action across sectors, across society, and across government. Let me emphasize the Global Plastics Hub is not just a repository of knowledge, it's meant to be a catalyst for change. It's there to be used and drive action. I invite you all to leverage this hub as a central tool for policy design, innovation, and investment, ensuring that decisions are grounded in robust evidence and that solutions are effectively scaled. UNEP stands ready to continue its role as a convener and enabler of science-based solutions, bringing together all the necessary players. With the hub at the heart of this collective effort, we can transform data into impactful action. Let us move forward with optimism, determination, knowing that together we can bend the curve of plastic solution and advance solutions so that we truly have a resilient planet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doreen. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Ms. Masako Ogawa. She's Deputy in the Environmental Bureau at the Environmental Bureau Department at the Ministry of Environment in Japan.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for inviting us for this great event. And particularly, I'd like to express our sincere gratitude to the organizer UNEP for organizing this event on the plastic pollution, and which is the issue of attracting much global attention. And also, we'd like to welcome all the participants. So the need to understand an actual level of plastic pollution in the environment and to collect and share relevant data have been pointed out in the plastic treaty and currently under discussion. And the Global Plastic Hub launched under the UNEP GPML, just introduced, aims to connect various data across the entire plastic life cycle. We believe it will contribute to the promotion of implementation of various policies and action at all levels. I'd like to express our appreciation for UNEP and experts who have devoted to this initiative. So Japan has continued financial support to UNEP and this partnership, GPML, and has also been promoting various initiatives in collaboration with UNEP. And one example is a project of international harmonization of monitoring method of plastics in the environment and compilation and visualization of comparable data so that they could facilitate policymaking and behavioral changes of stakeholders. And an international database of marine plastic, the name is AOMI, or Atlas of Ocean Microplastics, is one of the outputs of our project, and AOMI is featured in the Global Plastic Hubs. So please visit this database. And we wish to further work with you all to strengthen the global data infrastructure underpinning policy measures. This involves not only harmonizing method for monitoring pollution, but also enhancing collaboration among various databases, thereby supporting effective initiative at both national and global levels. So I hope today's dialogue, success event, and lively discussion will further advance the implementation of effective initiative and action. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ogawa-san. Please welcome to the stage Erlend Haugen, Government of Norway.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the organizers to inviting Norway to this event. We've had a long and good relationship with the Global Partnership on Marine Litter. And just also to say thanks to UNEP, but also in the spirit of UNEA and the one UN, also great to hear that there are other UN agencies also here in this partnership. And for Norway, the work on plastic statistics is absolutely central. An important step towards addressing plastic pollution is having accurate data throughout the plastic's life cycle to better understand the most effective measures to take. And this year, the Norwegian Statistical Bureau launched its very first official statistics on plastics, and the data show that in Norway, the plastic life cycle is still too linear. Too much plastic is being incinerated, and we lack indicators on plastics put on the markets in its composition and how to measure products partly made of plastics. But having said that, at least now we have the knowledge gaps that we need to address. And in light of this, Norway is very happy to see the launch of the Global Plastics Hub. The hub is a valuable platform for sharing national knowledge on plastics, and we hope to see that the hub gains momentum and contributes to standardization, openness, and development of new plastic indicators moving forward. And I think that's one of the key messages from Norway today, and we're really looking forward to continue the conversations and the partnership with the Global Plastics Hub in this regard. Plastic pollution is one of the fastest growing environmental issues today, and to effectively tackle plastic pollution, this global cooperation and knowledge sharing is essential. OECD and others have showed with data and science that with an effective global treaty, nearing zero plastic pollution by 2040 is actually possible. Data and research have also been key in the Global Plastics Treaty negotiation process. Quantifying plastic pollution makes the issue more tangible and real for people. For example, the report Breaking the Plastics Wave showed that by 2040, marine plastic pollution would triple without any global actions. And data and indications like these helped push the mandate for the treaty at UNEA 5.2 and is still a driving force for keeping ambitions high in the INC process. And I think we've seen that across many themes in the negotiations, that it's actually the data and the science that are often driving the negotiations. For example, on plastics and health and chemicals. So just to conclude, updated, comparable, and accurate knowledge on plastics is key to achieving an effective global plastics treaty and serves as an important baseline for measuring progress. And I think that's also a key message from us, that in order to measure the progress of this treaty, we would need to have this set of harmonized data and indicators. And in this regard, there's still a long way to go, but the launch of the Global Plastics Hub is a great step in this direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Erlend. Now, to talk us through the features and the potential of the Global Plastics Hub, please welcome now Takeuchi from the UN Environment Programme.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nao Takeuchi. I'm the lead of the development of a Global Plastics Hub. And today I'd like to make a short presentation about what the Global Plastics Hub does and how this one is turning plastic data to solutions. So before going into the detail of the Global Plastics Hub, I'd like to mention what the Global Partnership on Plastic Pollution and Marine Litter, GPML, and the Global Plastics Hub. So both are mandated by UNEA, and the Global Partnership on Plastic Pollution and Marine Litter, GPML, is the largest global multi-stakeholder partnership addressing plastic pollution and marine litter. And then also it unites governments, civil society, academia, and the private sector. And it has UNEA provides secretariat support, and it has a steering committee. Global Plastics Hub is mandated by the UNEA Resolution 46 and 514, especially for providing the platform for sharing scientific knowledge and the technical support for monitoring and harmonization. And this is the largest open source crowdsourced platform on plastics and providing access to technical resources, good practices, data, and network. And it connects stakeholders and integrates data to coordinate action and facilitate target setting and measuring the progress. So this is how the Global Plastics Hub is looking like. And this is, as I said, one-stop platform for data, knowledge, and collaboration to end plastic pollution. And it has 4 pillars of this platform. And we have, first of all, Knowledge Hub, which contains more than 2,800 technical resources, tools, guidances, and case studies, and so on. And then also another pillar is a Data Hub, which has incorporated more than 80 plus plastic lifecycle indicators and collected and visualized and providing insights through country dashboards. And we have also the third pillar called Community Hub, which connects stakeholders and organizations under the GPML, which is more than 2,000 plus registered members already into the Global Plastics Hub. And another feature, the new feature is called Action Planning Tool, where we provide step-by-step guidance for countries to develop evidence-based national action plans and strategies. So this is how the Knowledge Hub is looking like. So on your left side, you can see the library. On the right side, you can see the learning center. On the library, you can see search, technical resources, guideline tools, projects, legislation, online course, and so on, according to plastic life cycle stage, and geography and theme, and also different keywords. Sorry. So this is the most important part, the Data Hub. This is a kind of the focus of this session. So we collect all the published global data sets and then visualizing it in the format of a global map and also country dashboard. And in this way, we categorize it into plastics in the economy, the indicators related to plastics in the economy, such as trade, consumption, and so on, and then waste management data, and then also plastics in the environment. So kind of categorizing and organizing different sets of data into different life cycle stages, and also provides dashboards and then provides some insights so that actionable stories and data stories can be obtained to inform the policy and actions at the country level. So this is how the Community Hub is looking like. All the GPML members and then also individuals signed up to the hub can be searchable here so that we can support more connectivity among the stakeholders and also experts here. And then this is the new feature. As I said, this is an action planning tool. We provided step-by-step guidance, tools, and case studies to develop national source inventory or the plastic baseline of that country, and then towards the national action plan development. We provide step-by-step guidance according to stakeholder consultation, legislative and policy review, and then different key indicators, how to be measured, how to be monitored, and so on. All those tools are provided here. We still have lots of knowledge gaps. However, by putting all of this, we can really see where the knowledge gaps is also. So moving forward, so Global Plastics Hub has a lot of potential. And then we are seeing those potentials listed in here. And we would like to welcome to be part of the solution and help us to shape the hub together. So first one, of course, the Global Plastics Hub could be the potential for the place for the strengthened science policy interface, turning the knowledge and data into more actionable and sensible insights that can be utilized for informing the policy and actions. We can also use this Global Plastics Hub as a platform, for example, for the improved transparency for plastics materials and associated risks, such as chemical database, and then also dialogue platform for plastics chemicals, working towards the more simplicity. Third one, as mentioned also by the different speakers already, the cumulative progress tracking mechanism could be also established in here according to the data sets that we already visualized and then in the data hub. And then we also support data and methodology harmonization under the GPML through the communities of practice and working together with the different experts. Also, the Global Plastics Hub could be utilized for increase the investments in tangible and bankable projects through connecting and coordinating key actors and providing capacity development for the bankability and also the technological solutions and matchmaking among different people. AI-powered solution hub could be also one area that we can look at in this digital age, and we have now more and more different AI tools are available that could be also incorporated into the data Global Plastics Hub to support the decision making. And the most and the least, we cannot forget about inclusivity and empowered action. So strengthen gender awareness and then also highlighting the youth projects and so on is also an important aspect of the Global Plastics Hub. So with this, I'd like to thank you for your attention, and now I'd like to close my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much now, and it's incredible that so much has been achieved in just 1 year. Let's use this opportunity now to dig into how the hub is being used. Please join me in welcoming our panellists to the stage. Mr. Koki Takano of the Waste Unit at UN Habitat, Ms. Jana Friedrich, Head of the Radio Ecology Section at the IAEA Marine Environment Laboratories, Ms. Antaya March, Director of the Global Plastics Policy Centre, University of Portsmouth, and Ms. Diop Hassan. Mr. Diop Hassan, sorry, I forgot my glasses, so that's why I can't read my notes. Mr. Diop Hassan, Head of Pollution Division in the Ministry of Environment and Ecological Transition in Senegal. Please join me in welcoming the panellists. We should have some microphones up here for the panellists. Can we get some mics up here for the panellists, please? Oh, great, we've got them already. Thank you. Excellent. Please join me, everyone, in welcoming the panel. First, very briefly, just in 1 minute or less, can you tell us why you're here? What is your connection to the Global Plastics Hub? And Tay, let's start with you.
I'm just checking this is working. At the Global Plastics Policy Centre, we specialise in the effectiveness of plastics policies. And one of the areas that we focus on is national planning, so coordinated national action on plastic pollution, both within the context of the Plastics Treaty and beyond it. And we're part of a working group of organizations working on this national planning to provide insights and support and looking at collaboration points to ensure that lessons from the 60+ countries we've supported in national planning are captured, and in any guidance from this can be then translated into the hub.
Fantastic. Jana, what's your connection to the Global Plastics Hub?
Actually, the IAEA is a member of the Plastics Hub and of GPML. And you may wonder why, the International Atomic Energy Agency, what do we have to do with plastics? Actually, since 2020, we are having a flagship initiative using nuclear technologies to address plastics pollution in the ocean, but also to use radiation for the upcycling of plastics waste. But I focus on the marine pollution today. And we are actually developing protocols for microplastics monitoring in the ocean. We are doing capacity building for our member states, so how to produce the numbers, and we are doing technology transfer, so we are equipping our member states with monitoring equipment and with analytical equipment. So, and we are developing a network of laboratories for microplastics monitoring in the ocean, and we have currently more than 100 countries in this network. And that's why we are supporting and we are feeding the data into the Global Plastics Hub. So we are covering one aspect of the Plastics Hub, which is the marine microplastic pollution.
Excellent. And Koki, tell us, what is UN Habitat's role?
So the UN Habitat has been cooperating with UNEP for the last few years by providing concrete data on the solid waste simulations, waste collection coverage, as well as the amount of the waste as that is safely managed in control facilities. So those data have been gathered by a UN Habitat developed tool called the Waste-Wise Series tool, or the WACT. And by doing so, we have been contributing to the development of the comprehensive database that has been incorporated as a part of our GPML database.
Wonderful. And Diop, you're the representative of national government here. Tell us, what's your connection? Why do you think it's important to be up here talking about the Global Plastics Hub?
Okay, so thank you very much for inviting me in this event. So I think we get connected through UNEP, and I think the Global Plastic Hub is a very important platform, and we can have in real time all the information we need, all the data we need, okay, to try to address plastic pollution. Thank you.
And Diop, when we look at the plastics trade data in Senegal, we can see that imports of plastic increased by 56%. And I think we've got a slide up to show the audience how this looks on the hub. Imports of plastic actually increased by 56% between 2017 and 2022. And now this was at the same time as Senegal introduced a ban on single-use plastics in 2020. So can you tell us why? You know, what are some of the lessons and challenges around implementation?
Okay, so as you said, effectively there is an increase of importation of plastics. So there are some causes, and among others, so we can say first that there is a lack of alternatives to single use of plastic. But we are currently working on to introduce some alternative products to single use plastics, such as refilling vending machines, and we are trying also to promote good practice and using also some traditional bags to avoid using plastic bags. And this is also very important, I think, to tackle this problem of single use of plastic. So the second thing is there is a lack of communication and consultation prior to the adoption of our law. And this led to non-compliance, and I think thus we need to raise awareness and also to make people know about this law. I think it is very important to have awareness campaign raising and to make people know about the adverse effect of plastic pollution. The third thing is we have a lack of financial resources, and I think this is also a big problem we are facing in the enforcement of this law. So above all this, I would like to thank UNEP, especially Mr. Thomas Ida, who is the project manager. So we benefited from a project with UNEP to better address these challenges, and also to try to develop national source inventory and national action plan that may help us to tackle with this problem. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, I think a lot of people in this room would very much be able to relate to that real challenge around actually getting these things working. The IAEA and UN Habitat are both really important partners of the hub, and are both actively collecting primary data on microplastics and waste. Koki, let's start with you. Can you explain to us why are these data important? What types of policies can we expect this kind of data to help inform?
Okay, thank you, Dori, for the questions. As I mentioned, UN Habitat has developed basically the waste characterization tool called WACT back in 2018 with various stakeholders, including waste consulting firm and the UNEP, as well as other various entities working in waste management field. So to bit elaborate what WACT does, so the WACT survey basically provides solid data in identifying the bottlenecks and the area for the improvement for the cities to tackle. As Doreen highlighted in her speech previously, so one of the example is Lagos, Nigeria, the most densely populated cities in the country. And the WACT survey was implemented in 2021. And the survey informed that more than 30% of the waste was actually composed of plastics. So that was the area for improvement and was listed among the priorities for intervention for the local municipalities. And that actually informed the local politics and the policymakers. And the survey has been crystallized as the laws on single-use plastic bans that was just enacted and came into force in 2025 January. So in such a way, the WACT data can effectively inform the local policymakers actually to moving forward implementation on the ground.
Fantastic. And Jana, can you talk us talk to us specifically about microplastics data, marine microplastics data? How is the IAEA supporting member states to produce this data to feed into the hub?
Yeah, that's really important question. Thank you for this question. Actually, we are enabling. We are seeing ourselves as an enabler. So we enable our member states to produce the data. So we are providing our member states with technology. So we are purchasing and we are providing them with sampling equipment for the monitoring. We are providing them with analytical equipment in the laboratory so that they can really analyze. And we have different stages of laboratories for them. So basic equipment, which is the monitoring equipment, and some microscopes, so to identify microplastics in the size of between 5 millimeters and 0.3 millimeters, so you can some of them still pick with a microscope. Then the next stage is to provide them with equipment like attenuated total reflection spectrometry, so they can analyze the polymer composition. This is really important to source track where the plastics in the ocean comes from and what pathway it takes. Then the next level is FDIR spectroscopy or LDIR, so you can analyze also the decomposition of the plastics, so how the plastics changes as it is exposed to the sunlight and also to the ocean. So we have 4 levels of laboratories, some for monitoring and some also for doing research. We are doing capacity building. We have, since 2020, done capacity building in our plastics reference laboratory in Monaco, but also in the member states, trained 400 people. And we provided equipment to 79 laboratories. And we are also developing a network, as I mentioned, of laboratories for monitoring marine microplastics pollution. We have over 100 countries in this monitoring network, which is more than 110 laboratories that are within the network. Very important is not just the equipment and the methodologies, but to enable member states to provide harmonized, standardized, or harmonized data, so that we are able to compare the data that are fed into the database. That is very important. So that's an important aspect. And we developed protocols for elephant microplastics, so that's 5 millimeters, 0.3 millimeters in sandy beach, and in the water. And these 2 protocols are implemented and approved by all the laboratories in our network. That's a huge achievement. Next steps will be to develop protocols for microplastics in organisms, in marine organisms, particularly seafood, because it's very important to analyze it in seafood, as we as humans, with the seafood, we ingest the microplastics. And just to remind you, we take up per week the amount of 1 credit card of plastics, in the form of microplastics and nanoplastics. And it's not just the plastic particles, but it's also the chemicals that leach from the plastics that could be dangerous to marine organisms and also to human health. So that is what we are developing. Important is also not just the harmonization of methods, but also to have the monitoring protocols integrated into national monitoring plans and to feed into the SDG monitoring as the indicator SDG 14.1.1 for eutrophication and plastics debris. It's very important that this aligns to this monitoring obligations. Also the reliability of data. We are doing laboratory proficiency tests. We did the first proficiency test with plastic reference materials ever just earlier this year. So we know what the weakness and the strengths of several laboratories are and how we need to improve the protocols for the monitoring. That's it in a nutshell.
And that harmonisation point is so critical. It's really hard to overstate how important it is. And it's really at the heart of partnerships, right? We all need to be not just working together, but speaking the same language, working towards that common goal. So the harmonisation of data standards is such important and difficult work. Now, just before we come to the next question, I'm going to put all of you on notice because we are going to come to you very shortly and ask what sort of features would you like to see in the Hub. We're very lucky to have with us today the architects and the managers of this project, and they really would love to hear your feedback. So I am going to come to you, audience, in a moment, so please get your answers ready. And while you do that, Antaya, University of Portsmouth, along with your partners, has recently published a policy brief on the principles of effective national action plans for plastics. What's this all about, and how does this incorporate into the Global Plastics Hub?
Thanks, Jess. And I think this also relates to your point about harmonization. It's not only when it comes to data, but it's also in our approaches to planning and management. So when we talk about national planning, we're talking about taking more joined up policy approaches to tackling plastic pollution at the national level. So together with our partners such as GPAP, Common Seas, IUCN, the World Bank, UNEA and the Plastics Pact, which are the Ellen MacArthur Foundation and RAP, we formed a working group to pool our experience because all of us have supported, like I said, over 60 countries in developing national plans of some sort. And with the wealth of information that's out there, it can sometimes be overwhelming or confusing to governments who are thinking about implementing or developing national plans. So this insights paper, our first group output, we highlight some key things that we as a collective all agree on and can set sort of a minimum standard, even if our individual approaches to national planning vary slightly. So the first insight that we have is that national planning is a process, not simply a plan, and this includes implementation. So the success here depends on how plans are developed and more on that than their final content. So where planning has worked well, we've seen early engagement across ministries, genuine consultation, political support, and neutral facilitation that allows actors to co-develop this shared agenda. And this really helps to avoid a top-down document that sort of just sits on a shelf somewhere, or a document that misses the foundations needed for delivery. And really the most important thing here is ownership by collective actors. Second, we identify some core components that strong plans share. So regardless of income level or the governance model, we see convergence around certain elements, and these are things like clear objectives, measurable targets around costed actions, and making sure that it's not just a shopping list and really is prioritized and pragmatic about what can be achieved. And if you'd like more information on some of these elements, please do come and chat to me afterwards. But third, and I think what is really important here in this session, is that metrics and monitoring must be integrated from the start. So what we found in our research at the Policy Center is that monitoring is often the weakest part of policies, where in the 250 plus policies we've evaluated to date, 75%, around 75%, lack measurable targets and lack monitoring frameworks to track their implementation. So what are we measuring? How do we know what's working in practice? So therefore, like national plans that embed this baselining from the start, set targets, have indicators, are likely to have more sustained action. And where the Global Plastics Hub really plays a role is that it provides a structured space, one, for national planning, and it's got a really nifty approach to teaching various stakeholders, particularly at the government level, on what templates could look like, toolkits, guidance, and this is really a way to normalize what effective practice could look like in national planning. And it offers a really neat mechanism for data storage and harmonized monitoring, meaning that we can have more comparable data, which in future may be able to form part of a global system for accountability and learning. So our working group looks forward to working with the Hub even more so that new national plans become a practical pathway to delivery and not simply just a requirement to comply with.
Fantastic, thank you. And can we just get a microphone circulating around the room, please, because we're about to ask a question of the audience. So audience, first of all, a show of hands. Who has used the Global Plastics Hub? Please put your hand up very high in the air if you've been using the Hub. Good. Okay. Next question. Do you find it useful? Yes? Who's finding it useful? Did anyone put your hand up for the first one but not the second one? Or is there anyone who wants to share? What else would you like to see? What are the features? We've been through what are the brilliant features of this hub, but is there anything that you would really like to see in the hub? Does anyone want to share that with us? And we've got a question just at the front here. Or a comment at the front. Yep, there's a microphone coming to you now.
Good morning. Thank you very much. It's a fantastic resource. I just did a little hunt now to look for faith, and I came up with 0 results. So considering that 80% of the population sermon materials, teaching resources, stories from faith communities, inspirations that people could share. Would you consider having a section or on faith communities and plastic? Just to remind you that when Jesus fed 5,000 people, he said, "Let there be no waste," and told everybody to pick up all the waste after he fed the 5,000 people. Thank you.
Fantastic suggestion. Anyone else want to share with us any thoughts, ideas? We've got one at the back there. There's a microphone coming to you. Yep.
Thank you so much. Is this working? Yeah? I don't know.
Yep.
Okay. It's great. I just recently came across with the platform I was exploring. And my big wish will be to see clear. If there is a possibility to see more explicitly the citizen-generated data, especially the citizen science program that are contributing to this platform. And one of my wish will be to see in the communities of practices, as well as a data catalog, these programs that worldwide is contributing with the monitoring of plastic from citizen science. And second, also, how is this data used? I think that most of the global data hubs that we have nowadays are very interested in displaying all this data. But at the end, we don't have any tracking of who is really using this data and how that's been used for publications, for any kind of reports.
Okay, that's great. And for anyone that didn't hear the beginning, that was around including more citizen science data, citizen-generated data, and then also having visibility as how the data is being used. I think that's a really powerful point as well, and provides a great incentive for data providers if they can really see that their data is being used. Anyone else? We've got one at the front here. Okay, we've got a microphone going over here, and then afterwards we're just coming over here. Yes.
Thank you. Louis Meuleman, the Stakeholder Forum. I have a question a bit beyond the data we are talking about, which are very important, but it's about policy learning. And taking the EU as an example, where the 27 countries have laws and a lot of experience in dealing with plastics, how can this policy learning from countries that have a bit more experience already be scaled up to other countries? So that's an open question, I think, but I haven't heard yet anything about it. Thank
Would
you.
anyone on the panel like to take that as a question? How can countries that have experience and a track record in this area share their knowledge and data?
I could speak to it in a general perspective, and then I can see now maybe has some ideas more about the hub. But from our perspective, maybe there should be more ownership by the countries who have the experience to share those lessons and contribute to the platforms and engage in the dialogues that can help do that capacity development in a meaningful way.
Fantastic, thank you. And we had one more question just down the front here.
I think now wants to just follow up specifically to
yeah,
the hub.
sure, sorry.
Sorry for jumping on this, but I think this is a great opportunity. For the Global Plastics Hub, if you just sign up to the Global Plastics Hub, and you can go and access to a button under your profile picture saying that add contents. And then if you click that, then you can actually upload your case studies and policies, legislation, or any success stories. And that's the way you can actually encourage your countries, for example, or any focal points who's got like really good case studies to be scaled up and share stories from everybody who signed up to the Global Plastics Hub. So just wanted to share this one.
Thank you so much. And we've just got one more question. Can we just get a microphone just down the front here, please? Yep, there's a mic coming to you right now. What's wonderful is that so many people have fantastic ideas to share. It shows that there's such an engaged community who's, really working on this together. So over to you.
I wanted to ask about whether images can be used as part of data. Sometimes if you're trying to educate beyond the governmental level, it's really helpful to just have a couple of pictures to display the problems and the solutions in different settings. And that may be beyond your mandate, but then of course there could be partnerships with those for whom that was a mandate to make sure that we have the broadest possible engagement at all levels, because we know top-down doesn't work. A second question is, I'm interested in focusing on the production of plastic, not the recycling. And I wonder if there could be a specific portal for that. Thank you.
I think, Jana, you wanted to respond to that?
To the first part of your question, I would like to respond. Actually, the visualization of the data is really, really important. In addition to the pictures, the horrible pictures of having plastic litter on the beach of Galapagos, but also what is important, the monitoring data, to visualize. And for example, we are collaborating, and I know that also UNEP started to collaborate with Mercator Ocean International. They are developing the digital twin of the ocean, which is basically a high-resolution modeling tool to either visualize the data, the level of plastic pollution, but also to develop scenarios. So how ocean currents distribute the plastic pollution, or what would happen if we would reduce the inflow of plastic pollution through the rivers to the sea. And these are really important tools for policymakers to have some scenario models that they can play with to see what happens if. And that's really important to include, and we are collaborating with them. We are also, I know that also GPML is also part of IMDOS, of the marine litter platform. That's really important tools. I cannot answer the second part of the question, as I'm not involved in the plastic production, but we have someone. Thank you.
Okay, I think we've got someone who can respond to that.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Katya, or Ekaterina, and I'm a statistician from UNEP, and I'm happy to answer the second part of your question. We are almost done, and when I say we, it's mean UNEP and UNITAR together with a lot of other partners, including UNCTAD, regional commissions, and member states, with the development of statistical guidelines to measure plastic flows throughout the life cycle. And this statistical guideline, I believe, will be published by the end of this year. It's like maybe next week. Will include chapter on production of plastic. So our idea is to use actual statistics and international agreed statistical classifications, like classification for production, and select positions of products that either 100% plastic or partially plastic products, and based on this calculate plastic production. This work started in 2023, so it was a huge work and included global consultations with all member states. So I believe many of you received this statistical guideline last year for your comments and provided your comments. So this is not just a UNEP phase, but really a global work. And I believe this work will contribute a lot into what you asked, and definitely we are members of this hub, and in the future I believe we can collect and generate this part of statistics.
Thank you so much. And please do scan the QR code that you can see on the screen. This will take you to a feedback form, and we would really love to hear your feedback in detail. And if you have any specific feedback that you'd like to share or questions you'd like to ask after this event, please see Now, who is the lead of this project, and we'll be very happy to take this on. As we said, this is a very young project, and so there's so much room, there's so much more to go, and I think Now took us through some of the, some of where, what the opportunities are, and we'd really love to hear your feedback on what those can be. Just bringing the conversation back to the stage for the last few minutes, Diop, Senegal is, along the way in the journey, but not finished yet. What advice would you give to other member states or other countries that are just beginning to start to think about how to manage plastic waste?
So thank you. I think that the enforcement of law is very important. So currently we are evaluating our law and to try to make it more effective and also to improve it. I think also it was important to have data from the national source inventory through the UNEP project that helped us a lot to better address all the issues relating to plastic pollution. So I think also, as I said earlier, it is important to make it inclusive and to not left no one behind in this process. It is important that all population are sensitized in this process to make it the ownership, and also to make all stakeholders part of this process. I think it is important. So that's to better to improve the law, and also we are trying to align with the new treaty on plastic, and I think that may help also to address this issue. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. And look, I think we've got very big ambitions. We can't cover them all in 1 hour, but we've made a really good start. So please join me in thanking the panel for this really interesting discussion. And you guys can head back to your seats. And now to close us up, let me hand over to handing over to Natalie Harms, who's going to give us some closing remarks. Thank you so much.
There we go. Well, thank you so much, Jessica, and to all the panelists. We heard some really interesting insights, so thank you so much. And to also all the data partners in the room. and of course to the government of Japan, the government of Norway, and other sponsors who have helped to really make this happen. So thank you so much. And also to the team, Now and Geoffrey and Sarah and others who have worked hard on this event and also on the work that we're doing. So I'm Natalie, I coordinate the plastics work in the ecosystems division of UNEP. And please do scan the QR code. Maybe we can put it back on the screen. This is really a great opportunity for us to get your insights, your feedback. So please speak to us after this event, stay in touch. Just to reiterate a little bit what we heard from speakers and in the room, that only what gets measured also gets managed. So we need data, we need good evidence that is comparable, that is accessible, that is harmonized to inform effective action, but also to track progress against our national goals, our regional priorities, and also against global goals. So it's really important to make sure that we have these partnerships and that we work together, because all of us have a little piece of this. And the Global Hub is an opportunity for us to come together and to do this, to share data and to make it openly available. Please do engage with us if you're interested in working with the GPML community of practice that's working hard on data comparability as well. And please remember that this hub, the Global Plastics Hub, this is not a UNEP project, right? This is a hub for all of us and for all stakeholders. It's mandated by member states at UNEA, which is the forum where we're at now. So this is really an opportunity to connect all of our different initiatives, to connect our existing platforms, our data sets. So please do work with us for collaborative action on plastics. Share with us your tools, your resources, your insights. Work with us to see how we can connect your data sets, how we can address the gaps. There's a lot of potential with the hub. There's still a lot of gaps as well, and we've heard a couple of these in the room, but we want to work with you to make sure that we reflect this and that it's really accessible. There's an opportunity here for countries to champion their country dashboard that's in the Global Plastics Hub. So where you have data, show how it can be used, visualize it, lead the way, and encourage other countries to do the same. You can use the National Action Planning tool. You can work with countries and partners. These are all tools that are already there, and I encourage also our development partners to use these tools, share your lessons learned, and to make sure that we move forward collectively and in a harmonized way. So help us shape the hub. Let us know what you'd like to see there. This is for all of us. And this includes issues like citizen data, how are we using data, peer learning to scale action, visualization, addressing gaps like on production, for instance. So there's still a lot of work to do, but we need your help to do it. And I encourage you all to join also our event that we have tomorrow on Wednesday on tackling ocean pollution and its impacts through a new initiative. That's from 1 to 3 p.m. also here in this tent. And we'll be able to address some of these issues that have been raised in the room. So let me just end by saying that we stand ready to work with all of you, and let's make best use of this existing tool, the Global Plastics Hub and the GPML, to beat plastic pollution together. And thank you so much for joining us today.